Nasai minasan. Today we're gonna talk about Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 33. This episode is part 2 to the crossover with KuroIruka. But apparently after this episode, in the next episode, we are also gonna get a baby dino sugar that is gonna follow them back to Terra itself. So I'm gonna talk more about that in the next episode preview, but this episode is a ton of fun and I really love how they write the story, because I never actually realized this when I'm watching Ohsama Sentai, but every single country in Ohsama Sentai actually represent a part of civilization that can only be achieved and can only be, can only grow when there is a time of peace. Without a time of peace, I believe our technology will not lead towards comfort, but instead it will lead towards war itself. Just like how back in the day in the Great World War I and World War II, we actually got quite a lot of leaps and bounds of so-called technology in terms of weaponry. But after we saw the war, the Great World War has ended, we actually start to develop our tech in a different direction, in the direction of more pleasure and leisure, and that is something that is not able to achieve if we don't actually have a time of peace. And we actually get to see in this part 2 crossover with KuroIruka that they are currently at war. They are currently at war with the boss, and they actually talk about something that the Earth melody is missing, something like that. And that is the trigger that got me to start thinking, hey, every single aspect, every single ranger of Ohsama Sentai represents something that the people needs in the time of peace. Even like especially for someone like Himeno, okay, like her country is a country of magic and also art and beauty. So since the beginning, I have been questioning myself, questioning about this, like how can a country excel in both beauty and also magic? And you can actually think about how in the time of war and all those stuff, we need medic. Medic is very, very important to save people from gun wounds and all those stuff, to what I don't know what do you actually call, you amputate, okay? Sometimes you need to amputate someone's arm and all those stuff, and you need a lot of medical knowledge when it is in the time of war. But at the same time, in the time of peace, our medical attention actually switch from treating guns wound to actually treating common cold, epidemic and a lot of different things. Okay, so medical is also really, really important, but at the same time it actually helps me to actually think about how in episode, I don't know which episode is it, I think episode 30 or 31, where we actually get to see Rita learning a phrase of if I go to hell, I'm gonna bring it with you. That phrase actually came from Ishibana, and I really think that there is a kind of a inside the lore of Ohsama Sentai, there is actually a different layer of Ishibana. Before Ishibana became a country that is beauty and art, it is actually a really, really dark country. Maybe it is supposed to represent France, where back in the day there is the dark plague, something like that. Okay, so I think that is really, really amazing in terms of if you really look at the nuance of Ohsama Sentai storytelling and the lore behind all of them. You can really start to pick up a lot of different detail from different Sentai itself, and I think that is really, really amazing. Okay, even art in this episode, we already get to see without art, without a time of peace, no one is gonna appreciate art. No one is actually gonna appreciate talent, music and all those stuff, and people forget about all those things when comfort is lost. It is when in times of comfort people would actually start to care about art, music and enjoyment and all those stuff. Even food, okay, food is definitely one of the most important thing when it is in a time of war and when it is in a time of peace. When it is time of war, food actually goes from the direction of Like you all you need is to be full. Like all you need is to there's no nutrition fact at all. All you need is that you get fat, you move on, you get fat and you move on. And that is also like a lot of so-called beggars food was being created in a time of war, which is in current day all those beggars food that the only the beggars eat actually became a royalty food right now. Like I think, like if not mistaken, spaghetti or like kind of like noodles, something like that, are actually created to feed, or potato, I forgot, I think it's potato. Okay, potato was actually used to feed a lot of like a lot of beggars and all that stuff, but right now it actually become a worldwide famous food that a lot of people actually love. I think you can just go ahead and Google beggars food that turns good or beggars food that turns famous. You can definitely go do your own research and go jump into that rabbit hole, because there's a lot of food. So in a time of war, there's a lot of food that's gonna be focused on just feeding the people, but in time of peace, this is where people actually start to focus on the flavor, how to bring out the most tasting food and all those stuff. So that is really amazing. And then we actually get to see, I think for Sugar Dam, it is supposed to represent civilization and supposed to show how does someone actually live together in a country itself. And for Jeremy itself, and obviously for Rita, we need laws. In time of war, there's laws as well, but there is like the law of the war, like you cannot go, how do I say, like there are certain things that you should not do in war times, no matter what. So it's like if you do that, like that's mean that you have threatened the entire war. That's mean you are making an enemy out of the entire war, something like that. So that is wartime law, and there's also peacetime law, something like that. And also for, like I already mentioned, Sugar Dam. So how about Jeremy, the land of the in-between? I think this is actually focusing on how we are living with nature, how we are living with the environment, and we are also how we actually live among different tribes of people, different races of people, something like that. I think like this Ohsama Sentai ranges itself. At first, you might be just thinking to yourself like, hey, this is just different kings from different nation. But after watching this episode, it actually helps me to, wow, really open my eye to see that every single nation represent a crucial part of humanity in our entire life itself. So that is, wow, I'm not gonna lie, Ohsama Sentai is getting better and better by the episode, man. Like I don't know what to say other than amazing, okay? Because I heard a lot of good news on Dawn Brothers. A lot of people is like screaming praises for how amazing Dawn Brothers actually is. And right now, for us to actually see another Sentai series follow up Dawn Brothers, so to be such an amazing series, I have to say I have huge hope for Bakuage Sentai right now. Hopefully they are not gonna lose the ball on Bakuage Sentai. They are gonna keep the ball rolling for the third success story. I think that is gonna be amazing, man. So I might actually start to go back and watch some Sentai series. Maybe you guys can recommend me some Sentai series that I can watch that you think that's really good, that no one should ever miss those Sentai series. Let me know in the comment section below which one I should watch. But with that being said, I felt like this episode, being a part 2 of the crossover episode, is kind of like just wrapping up the entire story. So there's really nothing much to talk about here other than a few things that I want to highlight. The first thing is definitely Rita, like going there. Like I think Rita definitely is I don't know, man, like everything that she does in this episode is amazing. She's the one that actually goes to the kid and being funny with the kid, okay? Like someone like her, she is, how do we call, a typical introverted person, and yet she's willing to go out of her comfort zone to comfort a kid that is crying. I think that is simply amazing for us to actually see Rita doing. And we also get to see her like hugging one of the D-boys. I don't know what do they actually call, but she actually saw this, I don't know. I don't know what is her name, but she hugged her thinking that she's like Morphun, something like that. So that is subarashi, and it actually helped me to realize as well. When it is in a time of war, we are not gonna get any anime, man. Like in Terra, in where Ohsama Sentai actually came from, there is only one anime, and that is me and Morphun. No other anime in existence. Only me and Morphun is the only entertainment anime that Himeno, that the people of Ishabana actually created for Himeno itself to cheer her up, and they actually continue on until this very day because of how famous it actually gotten. But that is different from Earth, where they actually visited KuroIruka. Like Rita learned there's like so many different like mangas and anime for her to watch. I think she's like definitely gonna be a need, man. Like if she managed to bring back all those manga, she's not gonna leave her room other than official duty. She's gonna be a hikikomori, hide in her room, read mangas every single day, and then it's gonna create a lot of chaos for Morophonia. But then at the same time, just like what I talked about early on in the video, how important it is for us to maintain peace. If you enjoy Ohsama Sentai, if you enjoy Super Sentai series, if you enjoy Kamen Rider series, if you enjoy any entertainment in the world itself, you should not pro-war. Like no one should actually like. I think in recent day, I think a lot of people are more like holy shit. Okay, like no one really jokes about World War III anymore. But back in the day, like a few years ago, quite a lot of people are like making jokes of World War III. And when I actually saw so many jokes of World War III, it actually makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Not because like that it actually. It makes me scared because it makes me realize that I'm gonna lose a lot of things that I really want to enjoy in life. So like there's a lot of war going on right now in our real war here. So I'm not sure how we can help in a sense, but I think one thing all of us can do is pray. Okay, like prayer can definitely move mountain. Prayer can definitely make a difference, something like that. I believe in prayer. You can also pray, and I think. Yeah, there's a lot of war going on. I'm not gonna name any country because if you want to know, just Google war today happening blah 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 on Google, and there's gonna be a lot of different news that is going on that tells you all the wars that is going on. But at the same time, I hope you are not gonna get caught up with the war news and make you all depressed and all the stuff. That is kind of like also another rabbit hole that I hope you're not gonna jump into the rabbit hole of the beggar's food becoming good. That rabbit hole, go ahead, jump into that rabbit hole. Don't jump into the war rabbit hole. Okay, so I think this episode is overall really amazing. One thing that I think no one is actually that surprised of is actually the fact that Prince is actually the kid of the Red Ranger and the Pink Ranger of KuroIruka. Okay, so that is definitely something. I think someone, like a lot of people actually say that, oh, he's not the kid, blah 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 and all those stuff, but I think it is quite, how do I say, like quite obvious when they actually said that this guy is actually someone from the future and he's being sent back by their nakama and all those stuff. So you could actually, I mean, it's quite obvious that Prince is the son of the Red Ranger, but we are just not sure who is the mom. Okay, apparently it is the Pink Ranger, Emi Yuzuki. Holy shit, she is amazing, man. Like she is really amazing. But I don't know, man. Like, I think this episode is really good. And when we go back to Terra itself, we are definitely gonna have a lot of interesting story as well, because when we go back, apparently they are being framed by Dagadedot to become the king that ran away and all the stuff, blah blah blah. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Apparently Ruckless is gonna make a return, and oh yeah, speaking of Ruckless, we actually get to see a short glimpse of Suzume in this episode. I think just to remind us that she still exists in the story itself, because I felt like a lot of people might actually forgot about her. If you are not actually doing this weekly recap or weekly review episode, you wouldn't actually remember Suzume, I would assume. But Suzume still exists, and we actually get to see her wearing the ring that Heracles actually gave her. And there is no one there for her to act, there's no one there for her to perform to, and yet she actually shows us that she actually misses Heracles quite a lot. And it actually makes me wonder whether or not the love of Suzume towards Heracles is authentic. And I think it is definitely super duper authentic. Okay, so if Heracles were to make a return, and I believe he has already made a return in the next episode preview as the Sugar Mask, and that is gonna be really, really interesting, okay, for us to actually see how the story actually progresses. And maybe we are gonna learn, maybe just a theory, that Heracles was never really kind of like a bad guy. He's just an awkward asshole, or maybe like an awkward brother. Maybe he's like Itachi, okay? Like, what if like Heracles is Itachi, and like everyone just hated him in the first half of the story, and then in Ohsama Sentai Shippuden, everyone like, oh no, Heracles is the best character of all, or something like that. Just a theory, okay? Just a theory. We're gonna learn the truth very, very fast, so it's gonna be really fun. But that is all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. And hey man, like, if you made this far into the video and you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, click that red button and subscribe. And the secret word for today to let me know you finished the video is gonna be tissue. 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 Why? Because I saw a tissue in front of me right now. And for those who are kind of like dirty-minded, no, this is not for me to use after I do my like unholy business. But this is because I have really, really bad allergy to dust, and I sneeze very easily. And I believe in most of my video you are gonna hear me like kind of like do this quite a lot, and you already know like my nose is not the most clear nose in the entire world itself. So I don't know what else to say other than goodbye, sayonara. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.